Hey guys, it's Mark here. Today I'm just making a little video, just kind of putting my thoughts together, I guess, on quoting and how I quote projects and stuff like that. After the Q&A video I made, I still get a lot of questions from people about quoting and stuff like that and how much I charge. And I think that's good. I think it's good to ask. I kind of wish more designers actually talked about it. It's like this kind of taboo subject where we don't tell each other how much we're charging our clients and stuff like that. But people message me all the time on Instagram and ask, and I think that's perfectly fine. So I try and help them out where I can. But yeah, I just thought I'd kind of put this into a video now. I haven't really planned this, but I just really wanted to talk about it. So let's see what happens. Just before I get into it, I just wanted to clarify that I will actually tell you what kind of quotes I provide my clients with, because I've seen a few other videos on YouTube now. I actually just watched a few before I decided to record this, and there's a lot of them that are titled how much I charge my clients, and then you watch them and listen for 15 bloody minutes and they don't actually tell you how much they charge, and they just kind of ramble about it instead. So I don't want to be one of those. I want to actually give you some sort of made up projects and tell you how I would price those projects, so you can get an idea for how much I charge, maybe how much you should charge. I guess another disclaimer that I should mention is that my prices do change. I don't charge the same rates that I charged 18 months, 12 months ago. Quotes, prices should change, I guess, in relation to supply and demand. It's only natural in business for that to happen. If I have a really, really quiet week and I've got no projects on, and someone approaches me with a smaller budget than I'd normally take, I'm still much more likely to just drop my rates and take that project, because just like any business, I need to earn money. I still have overheads and costs and things like that I need to cover. So it's never quite fixed, so to speak. And on that topic of fixed prices, actually, it's probably not a bad idea to just briefly talk about fixed pricing versus hourly pricing. I pretty much exclusively charge fixed prices now for design projects. The only time I'm likely to charge hourly is if it's a really kind of vague project and I don't really know how long it's going to take, and the client's not really sure where it's going, and there might be ongoing work and stuff like that. But I'll pretty much avoid it wherever I can. And the reason for that's quite simple. I actually used to charge hourly for a while. And first of all, it's really hard to actually quantify how many hours you've worked. What do you count as working on the design and not working on the design? Like you could be sitting there eating dinner or something in the middle of the night, and an idea pops into your mind and you quickly sketch that down. It's like, technically you're working, but you're not. And, what do you count and what don't you count? When you're just online researching and looking for inspiration, do you still include those hours, or should you not? And if you get to the end of a project and you quote someone for, say, 20 hours worth of work, what's to stop them from turning around and saying, well, I think you're lying, or I don't think it took you 20 hours, or I think you should have been able to do it in less than that many hours, or the design is simple, so it should only take this long, or whatever, even though it might have taken a really long time to land on that final design. So I've had that sort of backfire on me before. It's really hard to prove that you've worked a set number of hours, although if you are going to do it, one thing that I always did was whenever I sent an email back to the client throughout the process, I always mentioned how many hours we were at, so that at any point the client could interject and bring it up, rather than just kind of surprising them with this massive invoice at the end of a project for a large number of hours. They need to know, and it's kind of your responsibility, I guess, to keep them in the loop. So yeah, always fixed price for me anyway. Probably the next most important thing in my mind when it comes to quoting is how specific or how vague is the project. So for example, a client might come to me and say, okay, yeah, I saw that recently you did a hand-drawn script for North Lane. I really like it. I want to do a hand-drawn script for my brand, something different, obviously not the exact same thing, but I want it to be a hand-drawn script. That's exactly what I need. This is my brand name. This is what it's going to get used for. How much is that going to cost? So in that case, the client has a pretty specific idea already of what they want, and they might agree to just having a couple of rounds for minor revisions, and that's it. And so it might just be, $200 or $300. Like it's a small job, really, in the big scale of things, I guess. And then on the flip side of that, you get clients that come to you, and they might say, okay, yeah, I'm starting up this new restaurant or this new business. I need a logo and some branding done. I don't really know what I want. I like your work, I like your style, so I know that I want you to do it, but I'm not really sure what I want. That pretty much the price just, the job just became like 4 or 5 times more expensive straight away, because already I can tell that it's going to take way, way longer, because that's the kind of project where you're going to spend a lot of time coming up with different ideas to pitch it to them just to see, if you're going in the right direction or not, and things like that. And another thing that I tell my clients when they come to me with that kind of scenario is, can we make a shared Pinterest board or something like that before we even start the project? And that way we can start sharing ideas. I can repin some branding and things that I think might suit their sort of style, and they can comment whether they like that or not. And straight away it's starting to, narrow down the search for the right idea. Straight away I might repin something and they might say, I hate that, I really hate those colors, and straight away I know not to even bother trying to experiment with those things. So again, that's going to save time, and therefore it's also going to save money. So yeah, if someone came to me with that kind of scenario and they didn't really have an idea, they maybe had a couple of images but it was pretty vague, and I knew it was going to take a while, I'd be looking at charging at least $1,000, $1,200, because it's probably going to be a 6-week project really, with all the emails and back and forth and lots of meetings and lots of phone calls and discussing ideas, and it really quickly tends to consume a lot of your time, and you'll realize that I made the mistake before of quoting all jobs kind of the same, and so I would get a pretty vague job like that and quote it for a few $100s, and then 2 months later it's dragging on because I wasn't on the ball enough really, and I hadn't been specific enough in my contract and things like that to say, actually, this is how many revisions and this is how many different drafts I'm willing to do before we have to discuss additional fees and payment and stuff like that. So try not to fall into that trap. Unfortunately, that's cost me pretty big before. Another thing that you should factor in as well is actually the return on investment for the design that the client's going to get. So if you are doing, let's just say a t-shirt design, and it's for a fairly small, newish brand, and they're probably going to sell like 50 to 100 t-shirts with this design on it, which is not an overly large number. That they're not really in it to make a ton of money off you, so your pricing can reflect that, and I think it's kind of good too as well. Obviously, don't sell yourself short. Make sure you're still charging a fair rate, but don't charge a crazy high price if someone's only going to make a little bit of money off it. And on the flip side of that, if someone like Nike hit you up, for example, and said, we want you to do a shirt design, that's a completely different story, because they're probably going to sell millions and make millions and millions of dollars off the back of your design. So your price should reflect that as well. And that's a topic that I've had a couple of discussions with other people about, and I've seen both sides. People say, well, actually it doesn't matter, it takes you the same amount of work either way, you should charge the same price, and I guess that's fair. I just don't really agree personally. If a massive company is going to make millions of dollars off it, then I think that as the designer you should still be entitled to a little bit more. It doesn't mean you have to charge hundreds of thousands or anything crazy like that, but add a couple $100 extra on there if they're going to make thousands and thousands or millions of dollars off it. So to me that's important. And on that same sort of note, it also depends on where the design's going to end up, because if again, just to I guess just use Nike as another example, but if they asked you to design something for a t-shirt, then they also went and used it on a new sneaker range and a bunch of advertising campaigns and all these other products, and used it for some other brands and stuff like that, then again they're getting even more value. So it's kind of handy to know up front what it's going to be used for as well. So hopefully that sort of helps to give you a better idea of what to charge, especially if you're sort of new to the freelance situation. So I guess for me at the moment, smaller projects you're looking at a few $100, larger ones you're looking at between $1,000 and $2,000. To some people that might seem like a lot, and some people have told me that it's a lot, and I've actually had other people tell me that it's not enough and things like that. It really just is situational, you know. It depends on you, who you are, and what kind of demand you've got and what kind of clients you're getting, you know. And for example, if you were running a design studio, you might have your own business premises and you might have 2 or 3 or even more staff working for you. So you've got all these extra overheads. So your prices then would you know, multiply, and it would be totally expected for you to charge thousands of dollars for a design. I've seen agencies, you know, do an illustration before and charge, you know, $30,000, $40,000 to big clients. That's just the way the business is. And I guess if there's one final note, it would be try not to stress out too hard about it. Don't sell yourself short. I know there's sort of a temptation if someone comes to you, like a band that you like or a clothing brand that you'd like to work for, and you can be kind of tempted to just drop the price and just get the job straight away because you really want it. And that's okay. I totally understand, but you know, don't sell yourself short. At the end of the day, the person, if they've come to you, they came to you for a reason. They like your work, they respect you, and they're at least willing to consider hiring you for that job. If money was the only thing that's important to them, they'd happily go off to Fiverr.com and get a piece of shit for $5 or $10, or you know, they could use another freelancing website or something like that and probably get something that's stolen, or you know, to take advantage of a designer working in another country that's, you know, able to do it for nothing basically. And yeah, but they're, you know, that's it. And if you know, if you've got a project on at the moment, or if someone's come to you about a project and you're not sure how to quote it, feel free to message me or something on Instagram or email or YouTube or whatever, and you know, just tell me a little bit about the project. I'm happy to try and offer my advice where I can. So yeah, hopefully this has helped you guys out a little bit. If you have any other questions, as usual, feel free to just drop them in the comments or send me a private message or something, and let me know if there's any other aspects of the freelance business that you want me to talk about, because I do get a lot of questions. I still get people asking me a fair bit about contracts and negotiations and what to do if clients don't pay you and those kinds of situations. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely let me know, because if enough people want to learn about that, then I'll make another video and I'll talk about how I write contracts and how I negotiate with clients, or what I do if someone tries to basically not pay me for work I've done and things like that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you'd give it a like, or maybe consider subscribing or something like that. That would be awesome. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.